You ever feel like your mind is a web browser with just way too many tabs open? Yeah, you're not alone. We're about to dive into a piece of ancient wisdom called Bhajagovindam, and it's basically a timeless guide for that exact feeling. A user manual for our modern, often restless, and kind of chaotic minds.
I mean, you know that feeling, right? Just adrift, a little disoriented, tossed around not by waves, but by a flood of notifications, deadlines, and just this constant stream of information. Well, what's amazing is, this ancient text, it gets it. It completely understands that feeling, and that's exactly where it starts, with that universal sense of being lost.
So the very first step on this journey is just acknowledging the confusion. And you might be wondering, why start there? Well, it's pretty simple, really. You can't find the shore if you don't even realize you're adrift. It's all about hearing that quiet inner call to stop drifting and start turning back towards yourself.
And this line right here, this is the core of it all, repeated like a mantra. Now, when you hear the word divine, don't get hung up on it. It doesn't have to mean some big deity in the sky. Think of it as your own inner center, your core self, that quiet, stable place underneath all the mental noise. So it's not some command from the outside, it's a gentle, internal reminder to guide yourself back home.
So, who exactly is this for? Who has this confused mind? Well, the text defines it as any mind that's restless, wavering, or just plain agitated. A mind that's caught between all the noise on the outside and all the chaos on the inside. So, yeah, that's pretty much all of us at some point or another.
All right, so once we've admitted that our minds are all over the place, the text asks us to face a big and, yeah, sometimes scary reality. Our time here is limited. But this isn't meant to be grim, not at all. It's actually meant to be a really powerful motivator because scarcity creates value, right? Knowing our time is finite makes how we spend it incredibly, deeply meaningful.
When the end of life approaches, it's a pretty stark reminder. The text frames our entire life like it's a single day. And if you knew that twilight was coming, that the sun was about to set, wouldn't you think a little more carefully about how you spend your remaining daylight? Would you really spend it endlessly scrolling, or would you focus on something that truly matters?
This comparison just lays it out so perfectly. On the left, you've got a regular day's hours, measured by the clock, spent on daily tasks. But on the right, you have your life's hours, and those are measured by meaning, spent on what's ultimately important. That awareness of the final twilight forces us to ask a really crucial question. Are we just filling our days, or are we fulfilling them?
So if our time is finite, what do we spend it building? Well, a lot of us spend our lives building these fortresses, things we believe are going to keep us safe and secure. But the text gives us a little warning here. Those fortresses might not be nearly as strong as we think they are.
And just look at how familiar these fortresses are. Our career accomplishments, our bank accounts, our social status, all the stuff we own. We really rely on these things for our sense of safety, and even for our identity in the world.
But then comes the tough part. The text hits us with this hard truth. No help will come. What it's saying is, when you're faced with the ultimate reality of life, these external fortresses we've spent a lifetime building, they offer no real protection. They simply can't hold up against the tide of time. Okay, fine. So material things, they fall apart. But what about something you can't touch, like knowledge? Surely what we know is a true security, right? Well, the text tackles that illusion next, and it uses another really powerful metaphor.
I mean, we are information-gathering machines, aren't we? We learn skills, we go to school, we become experts in our fields, we spend decades carefully collecting all this intellectual capital, thinking it makes us who we are.
But this whole process of accumulating knowledge, it's a lot like trying to hold a handful of sand. You can gather it up for sure, but it's just inherently unstable. You can't really contain it.
And you know what happens when you try to squeeze sand, right? The more desperately we cling to this knowledge as our ultimate identity, our salvation, the faster it just slips right through our fingers. It's not the knowledge that's the problem, it's our anxious grip on it. And this leads to maybe the most famous punchline from the text. Your grammar lessons won't save you. Now, of course, it's not literally about grammar. Grammar lessons is just a symbol for any worldly skill, your coding ability, your legal expertise, your artistic talent, that is ultimately powerless when it truly, truly matters.
So, if our worldly achievements crumble and our knowledge is like sand, what's left? What can we actually rely on? This brings us to the final, and honestly, the most important pivot in the whole journey, finding a real, true anchor within.
And here it is, laid out plain as day.
On one side, you've got everything we just talked about, the external stuff that's transient, unreliable, the fortress that falls. But on the other side, you have the alternative, inner resources, peace, wisdom, self-awareness. And these aren't a fortress, they're an anchor that holds firm in any storm.
And the best part is, this isn't just a nice idea. It's a practice, something you can actually do. First, just notice the chaos. Acknowledge when you feel like that ship at sea, without judging it. Second, remember your goal isn't to fight the waves, it's to drop your anchor. And third, gently use that internal call we started with. Turn inward, O confused mind. It's a simple, repeatable practice for finding your center, anytime, anywhere.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. This ancient text isn't just philosophy, it's a practical question for every single one of us. We are all sailing through this life. So the question it leaves us with is a powerful one. In a world of temporary fortresses and shifting sands, where will you choose to set your anchor?